Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Political federalism has to work on the legs of economic federalism. But when you have political federalism and the economy is unitarily managed, then you have amputated the federalism. It cannot work, and it cannot work, and it cannot work.
How do we have state governors and state governments that will begin to take pride in moving beyond just political soundbites to real project development? We can come back here next year with clear projects, or we can come back here next year to talk some more.
What international investors will need is transparency, proper transparency. And we also have to think about this pipeline which we have to draw up and present to the governor's forum. Not for their endorsement, not for their endorsement, but for their knowledge and blessing.
That is one of the best place region in terms of agricultural wise. Ken Ugube is here. We conducted interviews for some of our top executives, and after shortlisting them, and he told them where to go, not even representing them because of insecurity.
Businessmen and foreign investors, we are assuring you that security will continue to improve in the southeast. So you are welcome. Thank you.
We are simply helping. SENADEC is helping to make things happen. SENADEC is saying, use the talents of our own people to develop this region. That's what we are doing.
Challenge, the pain, the gain, and the potential of doing business in southeastern Nigeria, the Biafran land. ECOSI, growing the economy of the southeast. Think home.
This is still ECOSI, economy of the southeast, and we are still on the same series, Southeast Economic Summit, put together by SENADEC. And today on this series, let's take a look at the kind of development, the nature of development we need in Igbo land, which is possible, which is already on the pipeline. Watch this presentation and I'll be right back.
Okay, I've listened very carefully to all the speakers that have just spoken quite correctly. It is quite clear that the reason why we have lots of our children living the beautiful state or the beautiful southeast region, which comprises 5 states. For those of you, yesterday driving down from Owerri into Enugu, I haven't done it for the past probably maybe 30 years. I'm sorry to say that. And I looked around, I said to myself, as a designer, I said, we have a very beautiful environment. For those of you who can understand what that means, Southeast is blessed abundantly and immensely, both in human resources, financial resources, with any resource you can think of, we have it. But the only problem is that it's buried under the ground. And Southeast currently is known as the burial ground. Whenever I see a friend overseas where I live, where are you going home? Oh, I'm going to bury someone or the other. And no one says, I'm going home for good. And we have a lot of authorities who will listen to the position I'm going to make today. Actually, it's just casuistics in terms of, I would say, using the research terminology. And it's a project that I just bumped into, by the way, by my former junior at St. Patrick's College in Enugu. I guess you know who that person is. Professor Batin Naji is actually my junior. Yes. It doesn't matter, even there, he was my junior. You know, when we are at school, he can't talk to me. Yes. But now things have changed and things have fallen apart. You know, we are no longer at ease, so he can talk to me anyhow nowadays. But he's my junior. We are information. You know, so, however, look at the board there. I said food, urban settlement, and health. You know, those are the three key things that we live for. Any other thing you add there is jara. Once you have a food, a urban settlement, and the next is actually your health. Because we shall all aspire, whether you like it or not. You know? So, food, I can safely say to you that the reason why we have not yet made progress, we are ashamed of our culture. Your cultural imperatives is actually your God-given gift. You know, I say to my students always, social, there's what they call social interactions. Then from social, we move to what we call culture. Because a person that you've never met before, when you meet him once, you exchange pleasantries. Then the next thing that you do is say, when shall we meet again? And if you meet with the same person at that specific location constantly, it becomes what? Culture. You know? Because you can never exchange economy without knowing someone. You know? You know? Things are much easier for you. So social is very important. If you look around all our capital cities in Southeast, there are no social spaces. Social spaces are fundamental. And let me be very clear, what do I mean by social spaces? You know, if you look at the architecture vernacular of our ancestors, they have what they call Obi. You know, Obi is very important. That's where people meet during the day, in the afternoon, and at night. You know? But nowadays, we build gated communities, fence it around, then you live by yourself. And that is being actually selfish. You know? And because of our selfishness, that currently now, we're building high walls to defend against those we have impoverished. Because when you hear about kidnapping all over, it's your fault, all of you here. Don't blame government. When I said it in South Africa as far as 1992, I said to them, raising walls will not solve the issue of criminality. It's actually creating social spaces. If you go to Johannesburg today, you see the Sandton Square there. I designed it for them. I put it there for them. You know? I said, in fact, it was a fight. The whites were saying to me, why do you want to build a square? If you build a square, why blacks will come there? I said, I'm a black man. Do you forget I'm a black man? But you're not a black. You're black Italian. That's what they call me. I said, no. We must build the square there. Eventually, we'll build the Sandton Square, which is one of the most successful squares we have in Sandton City at the moment. And squares, as I said, look around everywhere in Nigeria, we don't have squares. You know, and it's the fault of who? Actually, it's fault of us as architects. I blame my colleagues. But the key issue as follows is that some of them, please don't blame them because they are paid slave fees. No, they're not competent. They are. They were educated. But once people do not appreciate consultancy jobs, at the end of the day, you get what you deserve. That's why currently in Southeast, there's mass exodus. I listened to a young lady who was there saying that I'm leaving, going to Abuja. What is in there for me here? But actually, Southeast is much better than anywhere else in Nigeria. You know? So next slide, please. This is the theory we are working on worldwide. I chair design and health, what's called Africa and Middle East. You know, just imagine I chair Middle Easterners in terms of design and health. They listen to me. That is, when they say UAE, whatever they have to do, they have to come for me for approvals. So look at it here. This is the concept that we developed, and they are implementing it verbatim. But people don't know what it's all about. It is salutogenesis versus pathogenesis. Pathogens, we know what it is. Pathogens is origin of sickness. And salutogenesis, you can see there, is origin of health. If you look around Enugu, around you, I would say that Enugu is not doing bad, not that bad, because Independence Layout is quite clean, you know. But if you move towards Asata Uwe, that is pathogenesis. You know, pathogenesis, no, don't laugh, it's serious. I was lecturing students in Abuja University. I said to them, please learn about pathogenesis. Pathogenesis means that if you have any rubbish, take care of it. Because rubbish is actually what creates wealth nowadays. You know, people use rubbish. If you go to Austria, in Vienna, you've been to Vienna, in the middle of the city there, they actually burn the rubbish to heat their environment. You know, but here we waste it. There's waste to wealth, as a matter of fact. The waste you throw away is actually your wealth. So we have to be very careful. Pathogenesis is very, very, very dangerous. So if you see your kids running away because the environment is pathogenesis. Next one, please. Then basically, where is the term pathogenesis derived from? Salute means health, where genesis means the origin. Salutogenesis is basically ensuring that your environment is clean, because cleanliness is next to God, as we normally say. The clean environment obviously attracts better people around it. And this was developed by actually a Jewish, Antonovsky, in in Germany during the Second World War. They were confined in an environment where they were having all sorts of sicknesses. Then he said to himself, these sicknesses we're having is based on psychosocial factors. Psychosocial factors, we know what it is. That is what pushes people away to go away from where they were born. Once you have psychosocial sickness from dirtiness. Next one. Okay, I placed it here. Pathogenic food. Those of you who like to eat this, you know, be careful that your health span will be shortened. This is where pathogenic food is all about. You can see it very well. Those of you who like to eat a lot of meat, fish, all those things, be careful. It's on the other side. Go on. That's it. For example, this is Holy Ghost Road, Ogui. Can you see what it looks like? Ogui new layout. How do you expect someone to live in such an environment? It's evil. It is total evil, and it's right there. If you drive away 5 minutes from here, you will see what I'm talking about. This is the environment we have, and we have 2 deputy governors from Abia State and from Ebonyi State. Enugu is not here, and Anambra is not here. Onitsha is actually one of the worst cities to live in the world. Look at it. This is what we have. How can you see such an environment and you don't feel pity for your people? You know, these things can be disrupted and stopped immediately. So I believe in doing things. See what I proposed on the other side. You know, this is my design. And we are proposing to do it all over Nigeria, just creating an environment like this. You can see on the lower end are arcades where you have shops, you know, and you know that architecture of a city creates jobs. It's not government. Government doesn't create jobs. It's how you design your city that creates jobs. Instead of having those long boundary walls are actually, they have no values at all. If you drive around Independence Layout now, it's nice structured environment, but you see only walls. And walls, what do? They create unemployment, because that is a dormitory setting. You can't drive out in the morning and drive back in the evening. It's not nice. Please try to create jobs for the kids. This is what I call salutogenic environment. And here I developed flats, studios. Studios is just a place where a young graduate can buy, and it's only 3 million naira it costs. You have 1 bedroom flats, you have 2 bedrooms, you have 4 bedrooms. They live above. And you can see the court there. This is the court where you enter. And by the side of it, people can walk. Instead of you eating at night, sitting indoors, after eating, you can come out with your wife or your kids and walk. And it's over 200 meters. When you walk from one end to the other end, you can see there in the plan, you have actually done your exercise. You don't need to be in the gym. You know, environment encourages you to exercise, to encourage you to live a strategic environment. And this is very cheap to do. And we can be transformed quite easily. Next one, please. Okay, look at what it looks like. This is the streetscape, you know. You can see low rise, it's not high rise, there are no lifts. So it's very economical. This we can do, and if you do it, I can assure you, you won't have lots of brain drains. The reason why they run out from this place was there's no opportunity at all. Next one, please. Okay, look at when you say backyard. We use the term backyard. There's no backyard here. Look at your backyard. The backyard is actually a quiet environment. You have what I call activities fine on the main street. At the back is where people can play. Kids can in a secure environment. So you have secure zone and active zone. Next one. Now, this is the project I want to talk about. That I made this project by accident. Just jokingly, my friend, my junior called me to come and see him. We were just talking. He says to me, I'm doing a hospital in Enugu. Do you know anything about hospital? I said, actually, I have a second PhD in hospital design. He said, is it true? I said, do I lie? So eventually, he said he's doing this hospital. Can I assist? Move to the next one. So this is the hospital. Carry on. So basically, I will go quickly. The brief introduction, intentions, overall ambition of the project, site analysis, 3D views, and project summary. These are basically the theories and concepts that I won't bore you through with. Yeah, this is the site. And this is just next to the Enugu airport. I would say probably 5 or 10 minutes drive. And the site is quite big, 44 hectares of land. But unfortunately, we have high tension line, you can see it in red, dividing the site into two. But as designers, I said, not a problem, we can handle it. And this is our climatic analysis, which nobody's interested in that. Yes, this is the concept. And as you can see, on your left-hand side is actually the hospital design, where you can see on the top, we have, this is designed what you call 3-in-1. What do I mean by 3-in-1? You know, you are born in a place, obviously you have healthcare issues, and at a certain point in time, you grow old, you know? So we have here on the left-hand side here, we have what you call the modern child. You know, on the right-hand side, you have the acute care. You know, on the bottom is what you call the geriatrics. Geriatrics is for for the aged individuals, you know. Then by side of it, we have the hospital city. And on the right-hand side is hospital city, because all the staff who are working in this hospital, they have all what they need. Based in the school for the kids, shopping, place of worship, exercise field, sports facilities, and you name it is inside there, because you can see it big now. You can see the acute care hospital there. Then down there is mother and child. And then we have, for the first time in Nigeria, a forensic laboratory. Forensic, and it will be in Southeast. If you know what I mean by forensic is very, 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 very important for crime, and you can name it. And also mortuary is there. Then you can see the villas for the VVPs. So on the other side, this is the overall view. This is what I call salute to Genesis design. If you have this, you will easily retain the kids that are around there. They won't. It's just like being anywhere in the world. Actually, better than anywhere in the world. This environment is beautiful. I don't know whether you can see anything with this, but anywhere in planet Earth. That's what we're doing here in the Southeast. This one. Okay, here we have various departments, quite well detailed, and we are now doing the costing. By the end of January, we will come. Where is Mr. Afre? Is the music on? No. It's okay. Mr. Afre is there. I'm saying we will approach you. You said you're looking for projects. Here we go. That's what ready for you. Next one. Okay, now this is the forecourt of the hospital. You know, as you come in here, as I said, I designed it in a way that there is this thing, when it's finished, we will promote medical tourism into this place. That's the intention here. So when you go in there, you will say that actually, in fact, you don't have it in London, you have it in the US. This is the first of its kind in the whole world, as a matter of fact. This is another view of it. This is also this different view. You can see what I mean by cytogenesis, an environment that inspires you. Because environment, this is Southeast. As I said to you people, please lay emphasis on design. Because the reason why people, I say it to Southeasterners, you undermine consultants. And that's because you see what's being built around. And once those things are built, they are valueless, but they are there to remain for life. So don't accuse anybody if your kids leave and go somewhere else, because it's your fault. Carry on. That's it there. This is the forensic. Carry on. This geriatrics. That is geriatrics in 2 sections. For those who don't have much money, they can go in there. But for those like Professor Bart, Pascal Dozier, they can move. Can go on. They have their villas. You can have your villa and you are taken care of, 24/7. Instead of you sending, because you can see there's a tendency that once we have old people, my friends take their parents to US, to London, whatever it is, they can be here, and they're taken care of 24/7. Go on. This, and then the interiors. If you've been overseas to medical treatment, this is what you're going to get here also. So it's comparable, if not even better. Carry on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on. Then at the end of the day, I'm just finished. Architecture space should inspire positive experience to the users. It's about experience. Thank you very much.
But this project has taken long in conceptualization. That helicopter you put in there is very nice. It fitted in This is supposed to be one of the regional projects for Southeast. And the idea of it is that in each state, there will be a stabilization hospital, whereby if there is any urgency, you take that person to the stabilization in that state, and then the helicopter will pick it up to this. Yes, it is going to be a medical tourism, but it was the philosophy, underpinning philosophy was a regional project, not for Enugu State, but for Southeastern State. I just wanted to mention that, just in case.
Now you see what some of these governors and the political class in Igbo land go to America, London, Germany, India, Dubai, and the rest of them, running after medical tours and trips and all that around the world, can be established in Igbo land. Something much more better, far better than what they go out there to do. It is very much possible to be established. You can see that for yourself. And this is what our own people are doing for other people out there. Why can't it be replicated in Igbo land? And it is already on the pipeline. Soredec is already not just putting it in view, but they are hitting the ground running on these projects. All we need are men and women of Igbo extraction to rally around Soredec to make this dream a come true. You see, I don't see the rationale behind you traveling all the way around the world to get what you can actually get in your backyard. We can do this, honestly speaking. We can. We have what it takes to do this. We have what it takes to make an Igbo the paradise we seek anywhere around the world. We have the human resource, we have the capital, we have everything you can think of to make this a reality in Igbo land. We should stop running away from our homeland. Nobody is going to fix it for us. We have to fix it by ourselves. And thank God, Soredec is hitting the ground running on this. Not just in the health sector. We'll be talking about other sectors. Talking about education. Talking about transportation, railway connection. Talking about every aspect of development, economic development of our homeland. Okay, this is a view by this participant on the issue of railway.
Abuja to Kaduna standard gauge rail line has been completed and is functioning. Another standard gauge rail line that is going on now, almost completed, from Lagos to Ibadan, and trial run has commenced. But within the indigenous region of the Southeast, nobody has mentioned anything about standard gauge. The question is, do we have to wait until the federal government decides to build a standard gauge line on the Southeast region, or do we challenge ourselves to take up that challenge and start developing our region with rail lines? My answer is, I will suggest we take up the challenge. There is a rail line in which the feasibility study has been completed, so you don't need to start new feasibility study on it. It's a rail line that runs from Lagos through Jabode, Benin, Abo to Onitsha. We don't need to start building rail line that will run from Lagos. We start our own from the region where we are concerned. Knowing well that rail issues is on exclusive list, we have to partner with the relevant government agencies to get their permission. How do we go about it? Onitsha to Owerri, there is a standard rail that runs from Onitsha through Nnewi, through Ihia, through Guta, end up in Aba, and another rail line, double gauge, that runs from Onitsha to Enugu, to Awka, down to Enugu, and from Enugu to Abakaliki. That is one rail route that cut across the 5 eastern states and can galvanize the economic activities of the southeastern region if we can accomplish that. What I'm suggesting is that the southeastern state governors should take up the acquisition of the land, the corridor where these rail lines were crossed. If they do that, the Senate can partner with organizations that will bring in money. Because one of the things that the investors are scared of is coming to enter into unnecessary litigations in issue of land acquisition and all that. But if they have done that, it becomes easy because the feasibility study has been completed. It is more than viable. And if we do that, and I'm sure, whenever federal government now decide that they will construct a standard gauge line that will traverse the eastern region, they may not likely start from that one that will touch the 5 states of the eastern states. They will likely start from constructing a line that will either run from Calabar through Ogoja to north, or start from a rail line that runs parallel to the existing rail line to the north, thereby cutting some of the southeastern states. It is the time we move into action. If we can move in immediately and set up a technical ad hoc committee towards the realization of this project, the earlier we do that, the better. Thank you.
You see that? That if an Igbo has network, railway lines, as we see it elsewhere around the world, it is not a rocket science to have such in Igbo land. Having a rail line that connects the entire southeast is not a rocket science. We can do this, and we have to, and we must. And that is why I keep hammering on the kind of political class we have in Igbo land, because everything boils around political decision. And not just health, transportation, education, and all that. What about commerce and industry, which is what Igbo is known for? Take a look at Enyimba Economic City.
A new world-class city with unlimited possibilities of growing business is now ready for investment. Welcome to Enyimba Economic City, a vibrant integrated city driven by manufacturing, commerce and logistics, skilled human resources, easy access to raw materials and markets, large greenfield site, and reliable infrastructure. Envisioned to be the preferred investment destination in Nigeria, Enyimba Economic City is strategically located and connected to 9 southeast and south-south states with a captive population of 60 million people. It is served with excellent roads, rail, airports, and seaports. Spanning over 9,803 hectares, Enyimba Economic City is the largest single development in Nigeria, a masterpiece in the making with a work, live, learn, and play concept in a sustainable environment. Skillfully designed into 6 development zones, Enyimba Economic City has a central business district, entertainment zone, healthcare zone, education zone, residential townships, and 4 industrial parks. Enyimba Economic City is proud to have dedicated inland port and airport to support large-scale industrial development and wholesale market as the main logistics hub. Enyimba Economic City will generate up to 625,000 new jobs. A variety of quality housing are available, that ranges from luxury villas to apartments, all sustainably designed in low, medium, and high-rise residential units. Residential Township in Nyimba Economic City is a safe haven where residents can live at peace and at comfort. Situated next to the residential township is the golf course and country club for all to enjoy. With an extensive green corridor designed seamlessly with the city to provide environmental relief and quality green ambiance. Master planned efficiently, Phase 1 in Nyimba Economic City comprises of 1,800 hectares in various land sizes, making it an ideal location for multinational companies and SMEs. The key investment focuses on industrial park, wholesale market, trailer parks, logistics zone and inland port that are highly secured with 24/7 surveillance. The social infrastructure is also ready to take care of the residents' needs. Earmarked as a free trade zone, investors will enjoy special incentives found only in Nyimba Economic City. Starting a business is also hassle-free. Infrastructure such as a dedicated 540 megawatt gas-powered generating station are meticulously designed to offer uninterrupted business experience at competitive pricing. Nyimba Economic City addresses mobility by putting in place a major road network with a reliable public transportation system that would ensure efficient and smooth traffic flow. Mobility within the city is further enhanced with cycling lanes along thoroughfares and green corridors. Nyimba Economic City offers a variety of entertainment options that sets to fulfill the recreational lifestyle pursuits of residents and visitors alike. Theme parks, sports arena, hotels, retail malls, and an outdoor activity zone will be the first in the region attracting international visitors. At the center of Nyimba Economic City is the Central Business District, where you will find premium purpose-built offices with lifestyle-enhancing amenities interwoven with luxury. Just next to CBD is Healthcare and Urban Wellness Zone, comprised of hospitals, specialized clinics, and world-class medical services, poised to be a major healthcare destination in the region. To the south of CBD is the Knowledge and Educational Zone, the first of its kind in the region, housing university, industrial training colleges, and a research center. Graduates from Eastern University, Nyimba Institute of Technology, and Nyimba Vocational and Innovation Institute will provide skilled human resources suitable for many industries. The crown jewel in Nyimba Economic City, designed with the elite in mind for a modern yet conducive working environment, is being developed with smart and sustainable features. Nyimba Economic City, the preferred investment destination where businesses can thrive and grow. Join us and grab the opportunity as we build world-class Nyimba Economic City.
That is the boiling point of the discussion. Let's hear from the Deputy Governor of Abia State.
And most importantly, SEREDEC, for bringing all of us together here. I've gone through and I discovered that most of these efforts of SEREDEC is what I would consider to be voluntary. They fund themselves, they sacrifice their time, do everything. They are not in government, but that they are doing everything for all of us in Southeast, trying to see what they can do to ensure that Southeast is better than the way all of us made it. Having said that, I want to tell us
that for those of us from Abia State, and my governor in particular, we are very, very interested, recognizing the fact that the better or the best way to move our economy, our infrastructure forward is to partner with private organizations. And most of our projects are in that direction. Just like the Enyimba Economic City we're talking about, we are giving our best. We are ready to make any sacrifice to ensure the actualization of this project. We've spoken to the landowners. Other infrastructure we are ready to provide, because we know, apart from developing the entire Southeast, the most important thing is that it's going to create a lot of jobs for our people. At the end of the day, we are likely going to realize over 700,000 direct jobs based on the completion of this project. So, having said that, mine is to actually appreciate what is going on here and what SEREDEC have been doing all this while. And I'm convinced with the speed and the determination and the commitment, South it will surely develop and be far better than what all of us are even imagining. Once again, I thank you all. God bless you all.
Well, I think it's only proper. I could see that the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State is anxious to also comment on that issue. Ebonyi State Governor.
Again, all protocols duly observed. I had spoken earlier, the mind of my governor, on the issue of financing Southeast economic development and improving ease of doing business. Seated here and listening to all the discussions going on, I just have one or two things to say. The first is to commend SEREDEC for what they have done and what they are doing, and encourage them to continue in what they are doing. I say today, Pascal, SEREDEC has become the SPV for Southeast economic development. And if we understand it that way, a lot of questions that are being generated in the hall are not necessary. We should understand who we are. We should understand the volatility of our land. We should also be very sensitive to continue to do what we are doing subterraneously. For in doing so, we will achieve our desired result. SEREDEC has been mounting town hall meetings to explain what they are doing and their intentions. Bet you me, we will not even be here today because it would have been sabotaged before now. But quietly and silently, they have done so much without saying to the world, this is what is happening. And if selfless Igbo eggheads will sacrifice themselves to do what they have done and gotten to this point, it will be foolhardy for anybody to begin to ask questions. How do you think you will get there? Even before the conceptualization of the idea, of the vision, they already know how to get there. We should not make the mistake of overexposing our eggheads. Sitting here and watching Professor Chidi effortlessly saying what should be done we must understand the sensitivity of his position and status and preserve him. All the people seated here have done a wonderful job that we do not need. Also talking with Day here, this is not the only region in Nigeria. We have other regions that have even gone 100 miles away from what we are doing today, and you never had a word. Why must we? I know all of us are Igbos, but please, media men, shut down your cameras. If you need to take photographs of me when I step out there, come and stop me. But we are talking to ourselves.
Well, I just hope these things are not just nice words to make us feel good, but these words, these nice words, can be put into practice. Things, tangible things that we can see happening in Igbo land. And I tell you, if this is done, an Igbo will definitely be great. And our children will not need to walk through the desert, crossing the deadly Mediterranean Sea to run away from a hell of a country. So let's all together make an Igbo great by supporting the efforts of Seredek. Thank you for watching, and I believe we have had enough for today's series. Continue watching, continue following us, continue liking and sharing this platform. Here we are not missing word. Here we address issues that affects our homeland directly, that impacts in the lives of our people. So I admonish you, keep liking, keep sharing, keep bringing people on this platform, and together we'll make our dream come true. That is the freedom we seek.